Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a lesser-known but deeply troubling environmental disaster, the Taman Peninsula Chemical Disaster. Situated in Russia, the Taman Peninsula was the site of a devastating chemical incident that left a lasting impact on the region's environment and its people. Although it may not be as widely recognized as other industrial disasters, the Taman Peninsula event raises significant questions about chemical safety, environmental protection, and governmental transparency. In this episode, we'll explore what happened on the Taman Peninsula, the consequences of the chemical disaster, and its legacy. Let's uncover the hidden story of this environmental catastrophe. What happened on the Taman Peninsula? The Taman Peninsula, located between the Black Sea and the Sea of Azov, is a region known for its rich biodiversity and agricultural activity. However, during the Soviet era, the region also became a center for industrial development, particularly in the chemical industry. In the 1970s, a catastrophic accident occurred at one of the chemical plants in the area, releasing a large quantity of toxic chemicals into the environment. The specifics of the disaster remain shrouded in secrecy due to the Soviet government's tight control over information. It is believed that the disaster involved the accidental release of hazardous chemicals, including chlorine and other toxic substances, into the air and water systems. This led to widespread contamination of the local environment, affecting not only the natural ecosystem but also the health and livelihoods of the people living in the surrounding areas. The environmental impact. The chemical disaster had devastating consequences for the environment of the Taman Peninsula. The release of toxic chemicals into the water and soil caused long-term damage to local ecosystems. The region's wildlife, particularly fish populations in nearby rivers and coastal areas, was severely impacted, leading to a collapse of local fisheries that many depended on for their livelihood. The contamination also seeped into agricultural lands, poisoning crops and rendering the soil unusable for years. Farmers in the region experienced significant losses, and many families were forced to leave their homes due to the deteriorating living conditions. The region's once thriving biodiversity was dramatically reduced, and it would take decades for the environment to show signs of recovery. Health consequences for local residents. In addition to the environmental devastation, the people living near the chemical plant suffered severe health effects from exposure to toxic chemicals. Many residents reported symptoms such as respiratory issues, skin burns, and long-term illnesses related to chemical exposure. The full extent of the health impact remains unclear, but many believe the disaster contributed to increased cancer rates and other chronic health conditions in the region. The Soviet government's response to the disaster was slow and opaque. In typical Cold War fashion, information about the incident was heavily censored, and little was done to warn the public about the dangers they were facing. As a result, many locals continued living and working in contaminated areas for months or even years before they were fully aware of the risks. The legacy of the Taman Peninsula Chemical Disaster. The Taman Peninsula disaster remains a stark reminder of the dangers of industrial negligence and governmental secrecy. Although much of the specific information about the disaster has been lost or kept hidden, its effects are still felt today. The region is still grappling with the environmental damage caused by the incident, and its population continues to bear the scars of the chemical contamination. The Taman Peninsula disaster also highlights the importance of environmental protection and chemical safety standards. While efforts have been made in recent years to improve industrial safety and transparency in Russia and around the world, the lessons of Taman must not be forgotten. This disaster serves as a cautionary tale of what can happen when profit and industrial expansion are prioritized over the health of the environment and the safety of the people. As we continue to confront environmental challenges today, the story of Taman reminds us of the need for greater transparency, stronger safety regulations, and a commitment to protecting both people and the planet. If you found this exploration of the Taman Peninsula disaster insightful, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our future content. Let us know in the comments what you think about this disaster, and if there are other environmental issues you'd like us to cover. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.